I'm a scientist
Nice.
studying human mating, and today I'm going to explain why men like
What did he
big
say?
butts. They're really
Yeah, so they put the final boss in the beginning village and you just kill him and it triggers the end of game. Nice. You finished the game, congrats. If you attack a chicken too much in Zelda, a bunch swarm you. Interesting. So wait, hold up. He said he was a scientist, right?
I'm a scientist studying human mating, and today
Scientist studying human mating. And look at that jawline that he has. Clearly he is an expert in human
I'm
matingology.
going to explain why men like big butts.
And I cannot lie.
There are really three key things to understand here. The first of which is that we're really talking about fat. I know fat is a bad word in the Anglosphere, but one thing I want you to notice is that, ironically, the features that most men find most attractive on women's bodies
I also am a scientist of human mating. You are literally doing the meme from Spider-Man where he's like, I'm something of a scientist myself.
are fat deposits. Large breasts, large hips, large thighs. Today's topic, a large rear end. People might say fat is unattractive, but they're really only talking about some fat when they say this. So the question for today is, why is this fat, gluteofemoral fat, fat on the rear end, considered so attractive, whereas fat in the armpit or the stomach or under the neck is not? Now, I should note that it's true that a large bottom also contains muscle. And that might be part of the selective story here, right? Maybe part of this is selection for large glutes, athleticism in mates. But usually when building glutes works as a means of beautification, it's usually because it pushes the body fat out to make it appear more copious, not because men are necessarily finding the muscle itself desirable, or so it seems. And that actually brings us to the second key item, which is that sometimes some men do in fact find fat in general to be desirable, and these men can teach us something very interesting about
All the smug simps.
our evolved psychology. A variety of data show that when men are experiencing poverty or instability, they prefer larger women. There are
Do you want to know why? Because if you got no food on the table, she's going to survive. Because she's got a whole lot of body fat storage,
are experimental studies showing that men prefer heavier women before dinner compared to after dinner. There's anthropological literature showing that women in some cultures, such as the Efik of southern Nigeria, restrict movement and increase calories as a means of beautification. There's even paleoanthropological
So basically they just get fat. Okay.
literature showing Venus figurines becoming more
Where is the new sound alert? I haven't added it yet. Okay. I was gonna do it, but I fell asleep because I went to bed at like 2 a.m. I will add it. It's gonna be a redeem, boys. So for next stream, you might have it on.
obese in regions of
I even downloaded the audio.
glacial stress in Europe. So there's a suite of studies here, all converging on the same theme, but what explains them? Why would men prefer women with more body fat during times of hardship? Well, a common theory related to the overarching
Visual learner, we got any curvy examples purely for a scientific research, of course. Let me just quickly open Discord, AI art, search, user, Meltomancer, has, image, enter. Holy, okay, never mind. No, we don't have any examples.
insurance hypothesis is that if there is a famine,
Hello,
it
Sid.
would be
How you doing,
adaptive
man?
for men's preferences to shift towards women who have more stored calories, right? That's what fat is. A woman with copious body fat is far less likely to experience infertility or starvation due to famine or other sources of
That's exactly what I was saying.
resource insecurity. And they're also, frankly, far more likely to be able to feed you, right? They probably know where the yams are. And so I think one could safely
The double D yams.
expect from this literature that larger bottoms would be more attractive to men who have experienced resource insecurity, especially food insecurity, since these men would benefit the most from selecting a woman with more stored fat. Now, I know what you're thinking. Macken, even in wealthy cultures and contexts where men don't have food insecurity issues, they still prefer women with relatively fat butts, right? That is fat relative to the rest of their body. Why would that be the case? Well, hear me out. It's going to sound quite wacky. This is the third thing you've been waiting for. It's probably because it's good for infant brain development.
So, that fat rear end, that giat, is good for fetal brain development, chat. You heard it right here. If you've got a big brain, if you've got above midwit IQ, you got triple digits, it's because your mama had that giat.
Femoral fat is rich in long-chain polyunsaturated fatty
I don't have a forklift to date big woman. No, sad girls. You need to get forklift certified. If you can lift her up with a forklift, then you can marry her.
Acids that are
You might need an industrial forklift for some of the women, though.
essential for infant brain health and development. And during pregnancy, this fat is mobilized to support the developing fetus's brain. And anecdotally, you will hear
Need big hips for more babies? Yes, noted. Not only is it big hips, it's also big butts too, because that fat that's in their their cheeks, their gyat, gets apparently mobilized, relocated to help with the development of the baby.
women talk about this, right? I lost my butt during pregnancy. So the theory put forward by Lasik and Gollin goes like this. Men who preferred women with larger butts were more likely to reproduce with women who had more of this long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids on their rear end. And women with more of these healthy fats were more likely to have babies who had healthier brain development. And babies with healthier brain development were more likely to survive and reproduce and pass on their father's preference for large bottoms. This preference plausibly explains how a preference for fatter bottoms
Gyat is essential to the birth process. Yep. Healthy brain development. 200 IQ chads, because your mama had gyat.
could have proliferated and obtained its robust place in men's evolved psychology today. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you're a woman listening and you don't have a large butt, don't stress about it. Men's preferences are very diverse. This isn't even a universal preference. And even men who have this preference,
Unironically, if you've got XX chromosomes, people will date you.
they generally factor in far more things as part of their selective process when choosing a life partner. Until next time.
Damn. That was a good video. We got clappies on this one. Oh damn, I forgot to link you guys the video we just recently watched. My bad. Oh my bad. I'll link you guys this one though. Yeah, big clappies keep big clappies. See, I'm not a gooner, just an intellectual. Maybe you're right. Maybe you simply understand the prerequisites for a healthy baby, you know, with a good brain development, you know. You're a connoisseur of the essential, in other words, you know. You try to warn us, you try to inform us, you know, that in order for our offspring to be viable, we needed the big wide gyat. And we wouldn't listen to you, and all of our babies were retards. You see, I'm noticing a pattern. The more we try and portray, you know, women as these flat, androgynous things, the more retards we have. Because their mamas didn't have any gyat. Think about it, guys. It makes perfect sense. And that is why all the retards like all the women to look like these androgynous aliens rather than actual women. Confirmed we're living in the flat-ass timeline? Don't worry, there are plenty of 400-pounders with big gyats that will save us. They balance out the spectrum. But gyat should be wide, not fat. It should have fat, but not be fat. And baby would be happy, yes. That's why thick Latinas are the best for mating. You sound just like a Bart Jones. When was this video made? 2 weeks ago? Dang! Wait, did he disable the comment? Speaking of 400 pounds. Interesting comments. Must be true indeed. Alright, let's go for the next one.